Xbox is continuing to think about forward compatibility, and the Xbox Series X and S has been selling very well in Japan, and Halo Infinite is a top right now as the top free-to-play games on Xbox. Welcome back to another video, guys. If you enjoy daily Xbox content, make sure to hit that subscribe button. With the 20th anniversary event for Xbox, they announced 70 plus more backwards compatible games, as well as 36 or so FPS boosted games coming directly to Xbox right now that you can go and play. But the unfortunate thing with that announcement was they also said that they were going to be ending the backwards compatibility program, and the reason cited for that was just all of the technical and licensing hurdles that they really just couldn't overcome anymore to bring more of these backwards compatible games to the system. It was unfortunate. I mean, I still think Xbox has done a very good job with backwards compatibility. I can understand why they will have to stop the program. I think the technical and the licensing part play a huge reason as to why they have to stop it, but at the same time they probably sit back and look at like the return on investment and the time and effort that goes into making certain games backwards compatible, and then the amount of people that actually play some of these backwards compatible games. But a lot of this also just has to do with kind of the way that the industry was created from generations in the past, where developers weren't thinking about these games being backwards compatible in 10-20 years or so. Jason Ronald was on the Iron Lords podcast, and he touched on all of this kind of stuff with game preservation, and here's what he had to say. Game preservation is in the DNA of Team Xbox, and I think the cloud is an interesting scenario because I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and trust me, when someone is writing an Xbox 360 game or an OG Xbox game, they were definitely not thinking that in 15-20 years in the future, this game is going to be running in a data center being streamed down to a mobile device. We have this great library. We have this great catalog of games from our past, and it's really about how do we enable more people to play these games. Not only do we want these games to be playable, we want them to be playable in more places and better than ever before. Then he continues on here just talking about the industry and how he said, I've had experiences in the past where he wanted to go rebuild a game for like 10 years ago, and we don't even have those tools anymore. We want to go back and enhance them and remaster them. And I think as an industry, we've definitely learned a lot and heard a lot from the community, and a lot of things the team have talked about is how do we build these games with an eye towards 10, 15, 20 years in the future. So there is a lot of opportunity here, and the team has a lot of exciting things that they're working on. So there's a couple of things from these quotes that very interesting and make a lot of sense. Like back in the day with the OG Xbox and the 360, developers weren't thinking about these games being backwards compatible and playable and easily emulated, I guess, or easily just playable on the current hardware that we have with the Xbox Series X and S. And that's a huge issue why the backwards compatibility program has to stop. But then you think about Project xCloud, and you think about being able to just stream original Xbox games and Xbox 360 games directly to any device. And I think that could probably be a good solution going forward if they want to bring more games to backwards compatibility. I don't know how exactly it would all work, again, with the licensing, and even if it is possible, how they would do that through the Azure technology and through xCloud. Could they just put like, I don't know, an OG Xbox or something, or an Xbox 360 in the server stack and stream from those 4 backwards compatible games? Absolutely had no idea how it would work. However, if they decided that it was worth the return on investment, I think the cloud could be a great solution for backwards compatibility going forward. Of course, it will leave some people out if they don't have the good internet connection, if it's something that isn't viable depending on where you live. But it's still, I think, a better solution than just completely stopping the backwards compatibility. But then I guess the second interesting part about what he was talking about was the games that they are building now. They are thinking about making sure these games are easily playable on the future iterations of Xbox and in 10 to 20 years from now. So Xbox Series games that come out today, you're going to be able to play them on, I don't know, the Xbox Series 2 or something like that, whatever comes out next, which is cool to think about. And it would have been nice if back in the day they thought about the future of gaming, because game preservation is going to be something that continues to get talked about. It's always going to be an issue, especially if it's hard to emulate certain games. And some games may just disappear. We may, unless you have a physical version of it and you have the original console that you could play it on, you may never be able to play certain games again in the future. All right, jumping over here to hardware sales in Japan for the week of November 15th to the 21st. And this is actually very, very interesting to see. Now you look at the sales here, the PlayStation 5 digital plus disc drive versions have sold 4,307 units, whereas the Xbox Series X and S has sold 3,422 units. And what's interesting about this is that, like this tweet says, I cannot remember the last time that PlayStation and Xbox were this close in terms of sales. Now, yes, it's only for a week, but I wonder what is contributing. There's got to be lots of factors that are contributing to this. More people wanting to pick up an Xbox Series X and S, more availability of the consoles, the launch of great games like Forza, like Halo, maybe the launch of xCloud on the console itself, the size of the Series S being smaller form factor really when you're comparing it to the PS5, which is huge. And it will be very interesting to see how this plays out throughout this generation. Now, sales don't matter to Xbox. They really don't. I know people still like to cite the numbers and use them as, like, I guess, bargaining, or well, not bargaining, but debating points. But at the end of the day, because of that ecosystem, Xbox just wants you in there. They don't really care how many units they sell. But when you look at Japan specifically, I think it will mean a little bit more there than other places in the world, just because of how bad the Xbox One did and how Xbox is pretty irrelevant in Japan. And if we see that continue to improve, we're going to see more Japanese games coming to Xbox, potentially more Japanese developers putting their games on Xbox Game Pass. And Xbox has talked about trying to get more Xbox games developed from Japanese studios in Japan directly to add to that ecosystem and to increase their foothold in the market. All right, jumping over here to something that isn't surprising at all, but it's great to see, and that is Halo Infinite is now the top free game on Xbox, beating out Call of Duty Warzone and Fortnite. Now, what's interesting about this is that Halo Infinite has had a lot of people complaining about the progression and the battle pass, but obviously it isn't really hindering the player count so far. The real test will be in the next couple of weeks and how long this massive player count lasts, because obviously people are upset with the battle pass. There's a lot of people voicing their frustrations and everything on social media. 343 has been listening, and they are going to continuously be updating the game. It is free to play. They're going to be adding more content. We just had the recent event, the 10-Ray event, and a lot of people were upset with not being able to fully collect everything from that event within this first week, because it's going to be coming 2 more sessions throughout this season. And then there'll be other events throughout the season as well. And I think those will continue to bring people back into the game. But overall, the gameplay is just so good. It really is awesome. It has a ranked mode, so if you're somebody who really wants to play ranked and get to the different leagues and go from like gold to platinum, all that kind of stuff, I think those people will be continuously coming back. But it'll be very interesting to see how these concurrent numbers play out throughout the rest of December going into January, and then throughout the rest of the season. I think at the end of the day, there will be a lot of people continuously playing Halo. I don't think there's too much of a worry that this game is going to die. And if 343 starts to see the concurrent number of players falling dramatically, I think we will see more changes faster than we are seeing right now, because people want them to make the changes instantly. But again, it's a free-to-play game. It's going to continuously get content, continuously get updates, and the foundation is very good. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Jason Ronald's comments on forward compatibility and backwards compatibility. What do you think about the Xbox sales in Japan and Halo Infinite being the top free-to-play game on Xbox? Are you surprised by that? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you enjoyed what you saw throughout this video, I'd really appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. Help this channel grow, help grow this community so we can have great conversations in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for your support. I'll catch you in the next video. We'll be right back.